That was a pivotal moment for me in developing my love of fashion and luxury goods from a pretty young age. And when I say we had no money, I mean we had no money. And sound like a broken record probably at this point, but I've talked about inflation in the last few videos that I've put out, but inflation is making it even harder, you guys. Hey everyone, it's Lauren. Welcome back to Closet Ecology, where we practice mindful consumption and luxury minimalism. If that sounds interesting to you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and say hi to me down in the comments below. I really love engaging in conversation with all of you. Plus, it really helps the YouTube algorithm push out my videos and just helps this channel overall. Today's video is a collaboration with one of my YouTube friends, Thor from Anthropology. Please go ahead and check out his channel after you watch this video today. He puts out a lot of really well thought out content. A lot of our values and views on things in terms of luxury align well with one another. So if you like the type of content I'm producing, you will definitely like his channel as well. This is a podcast style video, so this is a great video to pop on and have in the background as you go on about your day today. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. I'm going to first talk about pop culture for a second. So the most influential pop culture element that influenced how I viewed luxury was Sex in the City. Now, this is a show that my mom was obsessed with ever since it first came out, and I watched it a lot with her, more particularly the later seasons. Which actually, speaking of that, I recently rewatched the entire Sex and the City series. And, for a second when I was rewatching like the first season in particular, I remember thinking like, why the heck was my mom letting me watch this with her? But then I realized that I was actually watching a lot of the later seasons with her that were much more about the relationship developments and things like that. But anyway, so those characters really shaped and formed the way that I viewed luxury. I'd say that my two favorite characters were Carrie and Samantha. I just loved the dynamic and difference of these two characters. And even though their styles were very different, I really loved and appreciated how both of them expressed themselves through fashion. You have Carrie, who is very, experimental, not afraid to take risk with her fashion choices. And then you have, the power woman look from Samantha, where her looks are just very feminine, but also very strong, businesswoman centered. Both of their styles were very influential on me as a teenager, and especially their handbag choices, okay? So ever since the Fendi baguette was made famous by Sex and the City, and particularly by Carrie Bradshaw wearing them, I knew that someday I was going to have a Fendi baguette in my collection no matter what. I was going to make it happen. I'll go ahead and pop up on the screen either some B-roll or a picture of my Fendi baguette. It is a bag that is very near and dear to me. It has a lot of meaning behind it, and it's a forever piece for me. And my particular one is incredibly special. It is one that is pretty rare and hard to find, and I just love it. Can't say enough good things about that bag. So that show just really catapulted me into my love of luxury. Also, at that time, my mom did get me a subscription to Vogue. You also have to remember too that in the early 2000s, for a time frame reference, magazines were a lot bigger than they are now, since we live in the digital age. But having like a physical magazine was just a very special experience. I looked forward to every single issue that I got. The other major influence in me in the past in terms of luxury and how I viewed luxury and the exposure that I had to it was one of my parents. So my dad at that time was very high up in his corporate career. He did indulge a little bit in luxury, but in a way that was very tasteful and very minimal. I remember that he loved to wear Armani. He wore a lot of Salvatore Ferragamo, which that's why I have such a love for that brand, because it just reminds me of, my dad and that time in our life. He also had a love for Gucci, particularly their shoes. I think most of his shoes were either Salvatore Ferragamo or Gucci. So in terms of actually having my own luxury pieces when I was younger and as a teenager, I did have a few. One of the first pieces that I received was a Prada nylon makeup bag. I also had a Burberry wallet, a long Novacek classic wallet. I got that when I was in high school as a Christmas present one year. And then probably the best luxury item I had, which was a luxury item that carried me into my adult life until I completely wore them out, was a pair of designer heels. So, quick little story here. My sophomore prom, I found a black, just basic LBD situation. It was on clearance at Macy's for like $25. And because it was so little, my dad decided to go ahead and splurge and buy me my first pair of designer heels to go with it. And that was something that I wanted much more anyway than just a prom dress that I was going to wear one time and just be done with. So I remember this shopping trip like it was yesterday. It was uh, a very happy shopping experience. My dad took me to Saks Fifth Avenue. I looked at a bunch of different designer heels, but I actually ended up with a pair of Stuart Weitzman heels. And I wore those heels to literally every special occasion I had from that point on into my young adult life. They really carried me many years, and they were a satin peep toe. So because they were satin, they didn't last me as long as I would have liked, but I had them for several years. They were an excellent purchase. Hey guys, it's future Lauren here. So I actually still have something in my collection that was given to me when I was a teenager, a luxury item, and it is a jewelry piece, and that is this beautiful piece from Tiffany & Co. This is a love knot bracelet. It was given to me when I was either 13 or 14 years old, and it still looks fabulous to this day. It's something that I have kind of gone through periods of wearing and not wearing, but it's just this stunning little bangle here, and I love it. I'm so glad that I still own this piece of jewelry. I really think that it is a timeless style. Unfortunately, I don't think Tiffany makes this particular piece any longer, but it's something that I will have and will continue to wear for many years to come. So now we're going to move on into my young adult life. So I actually ended up having my daughter at a relatively young age. I had her when I was 22. So I kind of jumped right into adult life and family life pretty early on. And during that time period, my husband and I had no money. And when I say we had no money, I mean we had no money. Those times were very, very difficult. And when I think about it now, I am trying to look at it from a different angle, and trying to remember and remind myself that that time period just made me a stronger person, a stronger individual. But because of that whole experience and having no money, having debt, having a young family, there was no room for luxury in that time frame in my life. So that was in my 20s. Now, fast forward to my 30s. For reference, I am 32 years old right now. And when I was 30 in February of 2020, I went ahead and purchased my very first luxury handbag, which was a vintage Salvatore Ferragamo crossbody. I'll go ahead and put up a picture of that right here. I bought that on Poshmark. I got it for a really, really great deal, and I was so over the moon that I had my very first luxury handbag in my adult life. So I've actually bought and sold several different bags over the last 2 years, and that was primarily because I was trying to figure out what I actually liked versus what I thought I liked. And I also liquidated and sold off my reselling business. So I had a little bit of money to play with, and I just went ahead and splurged. And so I think as it stands right now, I have 6 luxury handbags in my collection, and all of those are permanent in my collection forever handbags. So now I kind of want to talk about the future aspect here, where I see myself going in the future in terms of purchasing and enjoying luxury. So I have a bit of a complicated answer here. So the thing is that I definitely see myself purchasing and indulging in more luxury goods as the years go on. However, I think that I'm definitely really unsure of how much of that I'm going to be purchasing new. The price points of this stuff is just becoming unattainable. And even though I could afford them, I don't really know if I want to spend that much money on them. And I've, sound like a broken record probably at this point, but I've talked about inflation in the last few videos that I've put out, but inflation is making it even harder, you guys. So with everything all combined together, I just have to have some different priorities for a while. Now that I'm thinking about it, I actually haven't had the time to share the small curated luxury collection that I've accumulated for myself to you guys. So that's the other thing too, is that I want to talk more about the things I have, appreciate the things I have, wear the things I have, rather than being focused on the next thing to buy. Thank you guys so much for joining me in today's video. Please don't forget to check out Thor's channel and check out his views on this topic as well. And until next time, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye!